Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the Jazz Standard here in New York City. Blessed in a week here of dynamic performances as vibraphonist, drummer, educator, as well as composer Warren Wolf. Warren is on the heels of a brand new record, his second with Mack Avenue Records, entitled Wolfgang. And what he did on this record is he's showcasing his both classical and bluesy influences, as well as he's working with two different three-man rhythm sections. On this album, he has appearances by the great Lewis Nash, Benny Green, as well as longtime friend Christian McBride. We sat down earlier and we talked about this new record. We talked about his time with Mack Avenue Records, how he's being allowed to grow and be groomed as a great producer as well as musician, as well as talk about his time with the San Francisco Jazz Collective. As you might know, a couple of years ago, he joined the SF Collective, and they'll be going on the road later on this year and the beginning of next year for a whole bunch of shows both here and globally. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Mr. Warren Wolf, live here at the Jazz Standard here in New York City. Brother, congratulations on this second record. I mean, this album, I'm hearing classical influences. I'm hearing definitely a lot of blues influences. And we're also seeing more of your original compositions with this.
Yeah, Wolfgang. The record is primarily based around classical-inspired jazz, kind of like modern jazz quartet, but we're just taking modern jazz quartet times 20. And we're definitely focusing more on the more compositions, you know, just focusing on pretty melodies and things like that, that the quote-unquote everyday person can remember.
Well, I think people are going to remember this because one of the standout tracks on here is an Yvonne Lynn standard that I heard through Quincy Jones. I think everybody knows the song we're talking about.
That's right. You're talking about Septembro. That's a beautiful song. We all know it from Quincy Jones. that's with Take Six. Somebody else I've heard done it before, but I just don't remember. But that's one of my favorite songs. I was sitting down at the piano one day playing it, and I put it on Facebook, and my manager saw it, and he said, "Man, let's record the song for the record. It'd be a nice change of pace, from a traditional jazz record." So we decided to do September.
Why did you decide to put vocals on this too? Because this is the first time you've done something with vocals.
That's right. Well, it's going to be more to come from vocals, but it's good to add vocals to, at least for me, because I figure it's more people can relate to vocals, even though the song has no words to it. But more people can relate to the vocals. So I feel that it's just pretty cool to have some vocals on it. So.
This, too, is another side of you. We have two different rhythm sections on here. We've got Christian McBride, who you still are affiliated with Inside Straight, and you also are working with the legendary Lewis Nash and Benny Green. How did that come about?
Well, we all know, excuse me, Christian McBride was on tour with Benny Green and Lewis. They were in the Monterey Jazz All-Stars this past year. So I first heard them at the Monterey Jazz Festival last year in 2012. And when I heard that trio, I said, wow, it sure would be nice to record with them, because I knew, it was time for a new record to be coming out. So I talked to the cast and I said, hey, would you guys mind doing a record with me? And so they said, sure. But it was also very important for me on the side to showcase my band. So I wanted the world to hear what I would sound like with the All-Stars, and Christian, Lewis, and Benny, but then have my band WOLFPACK with Aaron Goldberg, Billy Williams, and Chris Funn. So it's just a nice different contrast for both bands.
What is it about this band now? Because this is now your second, well, you've had other projects too, but this is your second on Mack Avenue. What is it about now, your band, that you want the world to really kind of remember or get out of when they listen to you or see you live?
We're full of energy, passion, fire. We bring a lot of heart and soul to the music. All styles, we're not just jazz and straight ahead music. We like to do multiple things. For instance, September, we can look at songs like Annoyance, which has a classical side of things. I just want the band to showcase our talents to the world. I just want us to be known as as one of the top bands ever. Kind of like up there with Weather Report and Return to Forever, Miles Davis quintets, John Coltrane, just many different bands,
Peabody Preparatory was one of your classical instructors coming up. Tell me about the importance of the educational side of classical music and also jazz, and how it has crept up and pretty much came into your compositions and also in your style of playing.
Leo was a true genius for me as a child. Funny thing, you know, the guy, if we ever seen him, he looks like Buddy Rich. I thought he was Buddy Rich as a child, but you know, having that classical background just gives me a very deep understanding of like melodies. It helps me read better. It helps my technique when it comes to the instrument. It helps me get around the instrument, or just anybody. Will help anybody get around any instrument. So to kind of fuse the two together, if you're taking those melodies and putting them with different rhythms and things like that, you know, it's magical. It can go so many different places. Working with Aaron Diehl, who was also on the record, I play in his group. You know, we do a lot of modern jazz quartet inspired pieces. So it just gives the listener something else completely, you know, something different to listen to. So,
you know, I wanted to bring that up to you. Hit Aaron Diehl. You know, you guys have been really playing in different amalgamations. His group, your group. Aaron is really bringing a whole nother serious approach to the jazz vernacular. What is it about him that differentiates him from some of the new guys that are coming out?
Aaron is one of those pianists. He's studied the entire history of the piano. When you listen to him, he can get down playing like Strad piano from cats like Jelly Roll Morton to Scott Joplin to, you know, to many other people who are doing it. Then he can play the modern stuff like Eric Reed, to the guys in the 50s, McCoy Tyner. He can do things like Chick Corea. But then he also has that classical background also. I believe he went to, actually I'm not sure what school he went to, but he has that serious, deep understanding of classical music. When you listen to the track on my record, The Carnival of Venice, you can definitely tell like that has a serious classical background. But then at the same time, you flip over to Wolfgang on the record, and you can hear the classical background and jazz being played at the same time. So Aaron Diehl, he's just like the real deal, and I like to call him that, the real deal, Aaron Diehl.
Talk to you about a friend of jazz that we lost earlier this year. In fact, he was on your earlier records, and I'm talking about Mo Miller. Tell me about your experience knowing him, and also what he brought to your records, because he really is loved and revered by a lot of people, and he backed a lot of cats.
Yeah, he did. Mulgrew was the second person to ever take me on the road. He called me, this is, I believe, 2001. I was living in Boston at the time. And he called and said, hey, man, Steve Nelson can't make an upcoming tour of Japan for 2 weeks with his group, Wingspan. And he said, man, you want to come play? And he's never heard me play. He's just going off of word of mouth. And I said, sure. And so we get over to Japan. You know, I'm over there with the cats. It was me, Steve Wilson, Dwayne Eubanks, Kareem Riggins, and Derek Hodge on bass. And we over there playing. And then Margaret actually, one night we're playing, we had dinner, I guess, after the show. And he says, Warren, I want to introduce you to somebody. So he introduced me to a guy named Hiro Yamashita. He is a record producer in Japan for this label called M&I. And from that relationship with Margaret from the beginning to Hiro got me my first record contract. And out of that, we did 2 records. The first record ever that I've recorded was Incredible Jazz Vibes, and the second record was a record titled Black Wolf. And Margaret was on both of those records. He gave me everything he had on those records, and it was a lot of fun. He was a beautiful cat. He hired me for a couple more shows, outside of Japan and all that other stuff, when Steve Nelson wasn't available. But Steve made all the gigs, which is cool. I love Steve to death. And he was a special cat, man. He played on everybody's record, never said a bad word about anybody. Nice guy, very humble, and just a monster on the piano. Mm-hmm. So
you're about to hit the road also with the SFJazz Collective, and you are with some dynamic talent. You've got Obed, you've got Robin, you've got David, Diehl, and you've got Miguel. Tell me how they approached you to work in this ensemble, and explain what is the SF Collective.
Well, I will say from starters, none of those guys approached me. How I got this job was through Stephon Harris. I got to thank him again for that. Just like any other gig in music, people keep them for a while, and then it's time to move on, just do other music challenges. So the first vibraphonist was Bobby Hutchinson. He did it for a certain amount of years, then Stephon. Stephon informed me last year, he said, I'm about to go out and do some different things, and I'd like for you to be that one to take over the chair. So what is SF Jazz? I don't know exactly what the SF Collective is. All I know is a group of some bad cats who are getting together, and we pick a composer, and we play different tunes of that composer, based on everybody's thoughts, our arrangements and things like that. But this year, this coming season, we're actually doing a 10-year anniversary of the past 10 years of SF Jazz. So we'll be playing music from Horace Silver, Ornette Coleman, Thelonious Monk, Coltrane, Stevie Wonder. We'll be playing different material from the past 10 years, all in this upcoming season. So I'm very honored to be a part of this band.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Jazz Standard here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the talented Warren Wolf for his time, as well as the staff and management here at the wonderful Jazz Standard here in New York City. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.